All right, so you guys know how we always do this thing where we say after the Olympics or after FIBA, somebody's gonna take a leap, right? Because they've been playing with the best players in the world and they're learning and they're soaking up knowledge, and we say that every single Olympics and or FIBA. And if you want to look at last year's FIBA team, maybe you could look at Anthony Edwards and Jalen Brunson as guys that took a leap after that, and Tyrese Halliburton for sure. But to me, the two greatest recent examples, right? I'm not sure about who took off after the Dream Team, right? But the 2008, the Redeem Team, and the 2014 FIBA team. Obviously, if you want to look at the Redeem Team, you had Kobe, you had LeBron. LeBron probably had the best years of his career directly after that Olympics. Kobe was Kobe, right? But he won 2 championships directly after that Olympics. Dwight Howard became an MVP candidate, led a team to the finals after that Olympics. Carmelo probably had the best year of his career after that Olympics. And you could say coincidence, sure. These guys were great, they were gonna be great, sure. But all of them will tell you the impact that might have had on their careers. And you look at the 2014 FIBA team where you had Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, even Anthony Davis, who played on the 2012 Olympic team. He had more of a role on this FIBA team, and all those guys became all-time greats after playing on that FIBA team. Now, it's never gonna be that great, right? I'm talking about the extreme examples, but it's fun to look at a roster and try to pick out who that player might be. And if you clicked on this video, you probably know I'm talking about Bam Adebayo. Now, the other guy would be Devin Booker, and I recently made a video titled Next Superstar Traded, and spoiler alert, Devin Booker was my answer to that video. So if you guys want to go watch that, and I feel like the Olympics just further solidified me really believing that. But Bam Adebayo, now when people talk about Bam getting better, where do they immediately go? Bam Adebayo has to shoot threes, and I'm not someone that disagrees with that. But after watching him in the Olympics, I went back to watch more film of Bam, and I was surprised at how much he still has room to improve, which is saying a lot considering he's already an all-NBA level player. Now, when we talk about someone being a great offensive player, they usually have to build off a great skill. Whether it's shooting, ball handling, passing, or just being an athletic freak, which Bam fits that category, but maybe not as much as we think. But I'm actually gonna focus on the ball handling of Bam Adebayo first, because I feel like that is where, you know, there's a lot he can add, there's a lot he can build upon that skill he has. No, he's not Kevin Durant. I wouldn't even say he has like a Zion level handle, but for his position, he's a pretty elite ball handler. And a way I feel like he can exploit that more, the Heat can exploit that more, is his playmaking, right? If you look at Bam Adebayo, he gets a lot of assists, he's a good passer, but he's almost never passing on the move. And majority of that is because of the offense Miami runs, but I also feel like Bam has to get more comfortable in these situations, right? So if you look at these assists, it's gonna be DHOs, it's gonna be, you know, on a short roll, but it's almost never Bam off the dribble creating an advantage for his teammate, and I feel like he can do that so easily. And if we look at this Miami team and how limited they can be on offense sometimes, it makes you wonder, why is Bam Adebayo never used as a ball handler? Maybe one less Bam DHO and one more Bam pick and roll as a ball handler. I don't know, that might sound crazy to you guys, but according to NBA.com, Bam had 19 possessions last year as a pick and roll ball handler, and they scored 0.95 points per possession. And this is not a valid comparison because the sample size is not nearly large enough for Bam Adebayo, but to give you guys proper context, 0.95 points per possession on pick and rolls as a ball handler was the same as Anthony Edwards last year, Jason Tatum, James Harden, and Donovan Mitchell. So a Bam Adebayo pick and roll scored the same exact efficiency as those guys. Now again, Bam didn't run any, he only ran 19, but that begs the question, why not more? And you know what, when I edit this video, I'll put in the last couple years of Bam Adebayo as a pick and roll ball handler and his possessions and the points per possession, because it's probably not that high, you know, the rest of his career. Or maybe it is, right? But clearly this is some part of his game that the Heat could lean into a little bit more, in my opinion. Which leans into my next point, which is again still connected to the ball handle. Another way I feel like Bam Adebayo can be a much better scorer in the NBA is getting to the free throw line more. Bam only averages 5 free throws a game for his career. Well, actually it is 4.6, but since he has become a full-time starter, he is averaging 5.5 free throws per game in his career. If you look at Bam, the way he's built, and again his handle, I feel like there's no reason he can't get up to 7-8 free throws a game. And if we look at the playoff numbers, it actually gets worse. If we look at his last 4 playoff runs combined, he's averaging 4.1 free throws a game And to me, that is borderline unacceptable. It's acceptable because Bam does a lot of other stuff, but that shouldn't be happening. If you look at the film, right, the film, you see a lot of DeAndre Ayton in Bam's game. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's a lot of fading away. There's a lot of leaning outside, leading away from the contact. A lot more finesse, which is a lot more understandable for Bam considering he's like 3 inches shorter than DeAndre Ayton. But again, it all kind of goes together because I feel like this is a problem with the Miami Heat offense because Bam is always stationary. And it's hard to get free throws from a stationary position. But if you put the ball in his hands more, you run more plays getting Bam going downhill, he's gonna get free throws. Spoelstra is smarter than me, obviously, knows Bam way more than me. We're talking about one of the greatest coaches of all time. I just feel like this is low-hanging fruit that they're not taking advantage of at all. And speaking of low-hanging fruit, what are the easiest buckets to get in basketball? They're usually transition buckets, right? Again, all of this is connected to Bam Adebayo building off of his ball handling ability. But transition, Bam Adebayo took 1.5 shots in transition last year. That's not a great number, it's not a terrible number. Same number as Miles Turner, same number as Naz Reid. The problem is when Bam Adebayo shot the ball in transition, he got to the free throw line a ton. His free throw frequency in transition was higher than LeBron James, higher than Kuminga, higher than DeRozan, higher than Zion, higher than AD. But all of those guys besides DeMar DeRozan shot more in transition than Bam Adebayo, and most of them significantly more than Bam Adebayo. Again, just low-hanging fruit for this team to really exploit going forward. Bam Adebayo can do a lot of these things. And the funny thing is, Bam gets a ton of post-ups, right? He was 3rd in the NBA in post-ups behind Jokic and Embiid. He gets a ton of ISOs, right? 2 ISOs a game, which is more than you would expect for Bam. And I hate to be disagreeing with one of the greatest coaches of all time, but I don't feel like Bam should be 3rd in the NBA in post-ups per game. Bam's strength is not strength, right? Especially when he's at the 5. Now, you can say, I would like to see Bam at the 4 more. So these post-ups make a lot more sense. But for the time being, I think Khalil Ware is going to be very good, but let's just assume Bam is still full-time 5. They got to get him on the move more. They got to get more Bam bringing the ball up and Tyler Hero setting a screen for him. I just believe he's too physically gifted to be standing as much as he is on the offensive side of the ball. But again, Erik Spoelstra, one of the greatest coaches of all time. So what do I know? I just believe these are some small things they can really implement to take Bam's game to an even higher level, and that's before we even talk about him shooting the 3. So let's just envision a world where Bam takes 1 3 a game next year. He's getting to the free throw line 2 more times a game. He's a pick and roll ball handler 2 more times a game. He gets the ball 1 more time or 2 more times in transition more. Like, all those things add up. That can take you from 22 9 and 4, which is what Bam did last year, to 24 10 and 5. I could really see Bam having that type of season next year, but maybe I'm talking about a world where Jimmy Butler is no longer. But I just feel like regardless, they got to start preparing for Bam to be their best player. And a lot of these things I feel like are an easy stepping stone to making that happen. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Am I overrating Bam? Do you guys see what I see? Do you see the potential I see? Even regardless of the 3 ball, there's just so many ways that he can improve that the Heat haven't tapped into, in my opinion. But let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please drop a like, please comment, please subscribe. I'm out. Peace.